Have you ever caught yourself lying awake in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, heart oddly heavy, not from anything specific, but from a quiet, creeping feeling you can't name? Maybe it comes when the house is too still. Or when the phone doesn't ring for a few days. Or when you look at your hands and realize how much time they've held, and how much they've had to let go. If you've ever felt that, please know, you're not alone. And more importantly, there's nothing wrong with you. In fact, that quiet unease, that weight we feel after 60, is something many of us carry. It's not because we're weak or pessimistic. It's simply that we've lived long enough to know, life is precious. And fragile. And unpredictable. Today, I want to talk with you, not at you, about something we all think about but don't often say out loud. Fear. More specifically, the quiet fears that creep in after 60. The ones we tuck away beneath routines and polite smiles. The ones that, if we don't face, can quietly drain the joy and confidence out of the years we still have ahead. Now, before you worry that this is going to be a heavy conversation, let me promise you this: today isn't about giving in to fear. It's about freeing ourselves from it. Because I truly believe, and I've seen it time and time again, once you name a fear, once you shine a little light on it, it shrinks. It softens. And you find a courage you didn't even know was still in you. So, in this video, we're going to talk about 5 of the most common fears people face after 60, and more importantly, how to overcome them. Gently. Wisely. And with heart. If you've been craving peace of mind, clarity, and a bit more boldness in how you live, then I think you'll find this helpful. And maybe even a little healing. And hey, if you enjoy these kinds of warm, meaningful conversations about health, psychology, and the deeper parts of living after 60, it would mean a lot if you gave this video a like, shared it with someone who might need it, and hit subscribe. I'm on a quiet little mission to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support helps me keep going and growing this community. Now, take a deep breath with me. Let's step gently into the first fear, one that often hides beneath our independence, even as it quietly shapes our days. The fear of becoming a burden. It's such a heavy word, isn't it? Burden. But so many of us carry it in silence. We don't want to admit it. We don't want to say to our children, our friends, our partners, I worry that one day you'll have to take care of me. Or worse, what if you don't want to? This fear can show up in small ways. Maybe you avoid asking for help with groceries, even when your knees ache. Maybe you hold off going to the doctor about a worrying symptom, because you don't want to be seen as fragile. Or maybe, you've started pulling back socially, because you don't want to be the person everyone has to wait for, accommodate, or worry about. But here's the quiet truth: being loved is not the same as being a burden. Think about how you feel when someone you love needs your help. When your grandchild reaches for your hand crossing the street. When a friend calls crying because they just lost someone. Do you feel burdened? Or do you feel honored? Connected? Human? Our loved ones are no different. They may not always know how to help, or how to say it, but most people want to be there. Want to give back some of the care you've spent a lifetime giving. And you, my friend, have earned that. Still, I understand, it's not easy to let go of that pride. So what helps? Start small. If someone offers to help you carry something, say yes. Not because you can't do it. But because allowing help is a form of connection. Because sometimes, letting others support you gives them purpose, too. And speak honestly. If you're afraid of being a burden, try saying something like, I want to stay independent as long as I can, but I also want to be honest when I need a little help. I hope that's okay with you. You might be surprised at the gentle relief in their eyes. Now, once we've named and softened that fear, another often rises right behind it, a quieter one, but just as powerful. The fear of losing relevance. This fear doesn't shout. It whispers. It creeps in when your kids talk about new technologies you don't use. When the cashier looks past you to the younger person in line. When you notice people stop asking for your opinion as often, or worse, speak to you as if you're not entirely there. It can feel like the world is moving on without you. Like you've become background noise in a world that used to look to you for guidance, for wisdom, for everything. And let me tell you, this is one of the deepest aches of growing older. Not because we want to be the center of attention, but because we want to matter. Still. But the truth is, relevance isn't about staying up to date on every app or pop song. It's not about keeping up with the pace of a world addicted to speed. Relevance is about presence. About experience. About perspective. And those, my friend, only deepen with age. You are not less valuable because you don't understand TikTok. You are not less seen because the world seems louder. In fact, your voice, your quiet wisdom, your lived life, these are more needed than ever. The key here? Keep showing up. Stay curious. Keep learning, not because you're trying to chase youth, but because curiosity is life. Learn a new recipe. Ask your grandkids what they're excited about. Start a small blog or video diary. Share your stories. Share your you. And if someone talks down to you, remember, that's about their ignorance, not your worth. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. But when you speak with that gentle strength that life has given you, it leaves an imprint. Even if no one says it out loud. Fear thrives in silence. But confidence? Confidence grows in expression. In presence. In the quiet certainty that you are still here. Still learning. Still shaping the world in ways that matter, even if the world sometimes forgets how to look. So take a moment. Breathe into that truth. You're not just relevant. You're essential. And now that we've begun untying those first knots of fear, the fear of being a burden, the fear of fading into the background, let's keep going. Because the next one, it might be the one we're most afraid to admit, even to ourselves. There's a certain fear that doesn't come with noise or announcements. It doesn't show up with shaking hands or racing thoughts. Instead, it lingers in the background. A kind of quiet ache that visits in the late hours or during long afternoons with no plans. It's the fear of loneliness. This isn't about whether you live alone or not. A person can be surrounded by others and still feel deeply alone. Because what this fear really comes down to, is the feeling that maybe no one really sees you anymore. That the connections you once had, those deep, soul-knowing ones, have faded or disappeared. Maybe a spouse has passed on. Maybe friends have drifted away. Maybe your children are busy with lives of their own. And while you understand all of it, that doesn't make the silence any less heavy. Loneliness, after 60, can feel like walking through a familiar house that doesn't quite echo the way it used to. It's not about the lack of people, but the lack of presence, the kind that looks you in the eyes, that listens without rushing, that remembers who you are beyond your age. And here's the thing no one tells you enough, this fear is not a flaw. It's not a weakness. It's a human need, the need to connect, to be seen, to be touched and spoken to and remembered. You've spent a lifetime being there for others. It's only natural that your heart still longs to be part of something meaningful. So how do we soften this fear? How do we step into it without letting it consume us? Start by acknowledging it. Say to yourself, without shame, I miss connection. I miss real conversation. There's no healing without honesty. And then, as gently as you can, reach. Not outward, but forward. Maybe it starts with something as simple as sitting on a park bench and saying hello to someone walking their dog. Maybe it's signing up for a small community class, painting, gardening, book discussions. Not because you have to stay busy, but because each space holds the possibility of new connections. Sometimes, we wait for others to invite us in. But the truth is, people are often just as afraid of being rejected as you are. When you take that first step, even a small one, you're opening a door that others may be too scared to knock on themselves. And if getting out isn't easy for you physically, consider digital spaces. There are forums, gentle online communities, even groups for seniors who just want someone to talk to. Technology doesn't replace in-person connection, but it can bridge the gap when needed. And never forget, one of the most powerful antidotes to loneliness is contribution. When you offer something of yourself, your time, your wisdom, your listening ear, you begin to feel part of the world again. Volunteer, even in small ways. Mentor. Write letters. Reach out to someone who might also be feeling alone. Because connection is never one way. Let's take a breath here. If you've been carrying the fear of being alone, in silence, in shame, in quiet ache, I want you to know this: you are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not beyond love, no matter what life has taken away. Your presence matters, even when it feels like no one's noticing. Now, as we step from that space, there's another fear that often comes with age, one we don't always have the words for, but feel deeply in our bones. It's the fear of decline. Of losing control over our own body, our own mind. Of waking up one day and realizing you're not quite who you used to be. This fear doesn't just visit in hospitals or doctors' offices. Sometimes it's in the way we forget a name we used to know instantly. Or how the stairs suddenly feel longer. Or when we stand up from a chair and have to pause before we take the first step. And with those changes, a shadow can form. What if this is the beginning of the end? What if I can't stop what's coming? This fear is so human. So understandable. Because we've lived long enough to know what the body can lose. We've seen others decline. We know, in some deep and unspoken place, that nothing lasts forever. But here's where the twist comes in, the part that doesn't get enough attention. Just because something changes doesn't mean it's lost. And just because aging comes with limitations doesn't mean you're helpless. In fact, this stage of life is often when people discover the deepest sense of control, not over the body, perhaps, but over the response. You might not be able to stop the knees from creaking. But you can learn gentle exercises that keep them moving. You might not recall names as quickly, but you can train your mind in new ways: puzzles, reading, music. You might need more rest, but that rest becomes more nourishing when you give it with kindness, not frustration. The secret isn't in resisting aging. It's in dancing with it. Working with what your body can do today, not what it could do 20 years ago. Celebrating the small victories, tying your own shoes, walking around the block, remembering a phone number without looking. And when something does slip, when a diagnosis comes or mobility shifts, know that you are still you. Your value, your identity, your dignity, they are not defined by what your body can perform. They are held in how you love, how you show up, how you continue. This isn't about toxic positivity. It's about power. Quiet power. The kind that says, I may not be who I was, but I am still here. And I will live this day with intention. One day, when we look back at our older years, we won't remember the moments our hips hurt or our backs ached. We'll remember who we loved. What we gave. The quiet mornings, the laughter, the courage to show up even when things weren't easy. And maybe, just maybe, we'll realize that growing older wasn't about loss, it was about learning to live more truthfully. With fewer masks. With more tenderness. With the kind of strength that doesn't need to shout. So, let's pause again. So far, we've faced some of the heaviest fears: being a burden, becoming invisible, growing lonely, and fearing decline. But there's still one more. A fear so universal, yet often left unspoken, the one waiting quietly at the edge of everything we do, everything we plan for, everything we avoid. Let's walk gently toward it, together. There's a fear that often hides behind the busyness of life. Behind the distractions, the lists, the appointments, the television always on in the background. It's not loud like panic, not sharp like grief. It's quiet, like a slow-moving shadow. It's the fear of death, or more precisely, the fear of dying without having truly lived. Most of us don't wake up thinking about our final breath. We think about what to eat, who to call, what our body is capable of today. And yet, beneath those thoughts, there's sometimes a whisper, did I do enough? Did I love enough? Will I be remembered? Will I go peacefully, or alone, or afraid? These questions aren't morbid. They're deeply human. And if you've reached this season of life, it means you've already lived through so many things, heartbreak and healing, laughter and loss, moments you thought would break you, and others that made you feel whole. You've come so far. But now, something shifts. Maybe you've lost people you never imagined living without. Maybe you've had a health scare that made you look Times Square in the eye. Maybe you just woke up one morning and realized that the road ahead is shorter than the one behind. And it catches your breath, because suddenly, there's a sense that time is precious in a way it never felt before. So what do we do with this fear? How do we carry it without letting it crush us? We start, as always, by naming it. Say it softly, without shame, I am afraid of dying. Not because life has been bad, but because it's been full. Because there are still things you want to see, say, feel, forgive. That admission alone can loosen the grip of fear. Then, ask yourself gently, what does living fully mean to me now? It's different for everyone. For one person, it might mean traveling. For another, it might mean healing an old wound with a sibling or child. For someone else, it could simply mean waking up each morning with a peaceful heart, taking in the morning light, and knowing they are at ease with themselves. What matters is that it's yours. And here's a truth I hope you carry with you, it's never too late to begin again. You are never too old to choose a new way of living, even if it's quieter, even if it's simpler. You don't need to climb a mountain or write a book or check off a list to have lived well. Sometimes, the most profound life is lived in small, deliberate moments, a gentle cup of tea on the porch. A handwritten note to someone you love. A day spent doing something that matters to you, not to the world. To die well, we must live well. And to live well, we must be present. Not stuck in regrets of the past. Not racing toward some future goal. But here. Now. In the softness of this moment. And when the fear of death rises, as it does for all of us, let it be a reminder. Not of what's ending, but of what's still possible. A nudge from your soul asking, what can I still give? What can I still experience? Who can I still forgive, including myself? Because here's a beautiful truth, peace doesn't come from avoiding death. It comes from embracing life, fully, honestly, with nothing held back. You may find, in this season, that some things you once thought mattered, no longer do. The opinions of others. The race to achieve. The need to prove yourself. All of it falls away like leaves in autumn. And what remains? Love. Presence. Kindness. Meaning. You have the wisdom now to know what's real. Use it. Speak truth gently. Love openly. Say what you need to say before it's too late. Do the thing you've been putting off, not out of fear, but because now you know what's important. Time is not the enemy. Time is the reminder. And let me tell you something quietly powerful. The end is not something to fear when the middle has been lived with heart. Take comfort in the lives you've touched, in the child you raised, the friend you comforted, the kindness you gave when no one saw. Those things last. You may not be remembered by millions, but you will be remembered by someone. And to them, you will have meant the world. So breathe with me, just for a moment. Let it all go, the fear, the shame, the rushing. Let this moment be enough. Let yourself feel how alive you still are. The beating heart. The breath in your chest. The fact that you're listening to this right now means you still get to choose. You still get to choose joy. Kindness. Curiosity. Laughter. You still get to live with intention. And that is something so many people never realize, until it's too late. You, my dear friend, are not done yet. So if you felt the weight of these fears, of being a burden, of fading into loneliness, of physical decline, of quiet invisibility, or of death itself, know this. These fears do not define you. You are stronger than them. Not because you never feel them, but because you choose to keep living through them. That is courage. That is grace. Let this be the chapter where you stop waiting for the perfect day, the right moment, the younger body, the guarantee that everything will be okay. Instead, choose now. Choose to live fearlessly, not because life is certain, but because it is precious. And as you walk forward, whether slowly or swiftly, carry this truth: the best days are not always the earliest. Sometimes, they are the ones you never expected. The days when you stopped apologizing for your age and started embracing your presence. The days when you looked fear in the eye and said, "I see you, but you do not rule me." That is fearless living. And you, just as you are ready. If this video has touched something in your heart, even just a small part, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Let's support one another, remind each other that we are not alone in these fears, or in this beautiful, complicated journey of aging. If you found comfort, hope, or courage today, please consider liking this video, sharing it with someone you love, and subscribing to this channel. Your support helps me keep creating honest, gentle conversations like this one, and I'd love for you to be a part of that journey. Until next time, take care of your soul. Speak kindly to yourself. And remember, living fearlessly doesn't mean having no fear, it means walking forward with your heart open anyway. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are still here, and there is still so much life waiting for you.